Today's video is going to be just a talking video. Ha, just a talking video. As if talking with us isn't a special occasion.
Today, we are doing our workout outside. Good change of pace having it outside. It's a good workout.
Today is a very special day around here because for 2 weeks we have been having the exact same breakfast, like exact same, every single weekday. And that has been 3 potatoes that I grate into hash browns, which we had left over from cooking on the Appalachian Trail, cheese that I grate on top, fried eggs. I think that's it, like every single day. And I actually love it, but we're trying something new today. Check this out. This is our new yogurt bar, and we got this just plain, like no sugar added yogurt, because we went to Costco. This is the stuff that we got to put on the yogurt. There's this like granola stuff. There's a muesli, which is slightly different. I think this is like uncooked. I don't know how. This is like more expensive. Hemp hearts, which I've never had. It says it's nutty. And those got to be refrigerated when we're done. Chia seeds, bananas, and pineapple. And the only rule is, whatever you put in your bowl, you gotta what? What's the rule?
Eat.
You gotta finish it all the way. We're not gonna waste any of this. And then we'll just put all these back in the bags when we're done. So I think it's like pretty healthy, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, but it gives the kids like a good feeling of variety. I mean, theoretically, you could do no yogurt, you could just do fruit, you could just do granola if you want. What do you think, babes? Are you gonna try this?
Of course, but I'm the most interested in the last 2.
Those? The processed
my favorite.
sugary ones?
Yeah.
These are a little fruity and nutty down here.
If there was other berries, I'd probably do other berries too, but...
My favorite is this one and that one.
I did have a whole thing of fresh blueberries that all got eaten that were supposed to be for today, so I was a little frustrated about that. But for future, we just got these pineapples, like, because they were super cheap, but we got big bags of frozen berries at Costco to use for this same plan, so we'll see how it goes. All right, mine's ready to go. All right, hey, what do you think? Is it good? What does it taste like?
Vanilla.
Vanilla? Oh yeah? Is it crunchy? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good, huh? Man, the one thing I wish I had right now is some shredded coconut. Then we'd have like this pina colada vibe going. Oh, that'd be so good.
I put the hemp seeds in there. Here. It was good. I have a little drizzle of honey though, but I know you're against that.
Why are you always adding sugar to my stuff?
It's still good.
You get
Sugar and granola.
I know.
Yeah.
And first, some announcements. Number 1.
The merch store is live. If you haven't checked it out already, check it out. The link to the shop will be in the description down below. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have stickers, we have a book. Today was an emotional roller coaster for me. I launched the store. 45 minutes later, I check it to see if there's any orders, and I checked it several times in between. There was no orders, and so I was like, man, maybe this is gonna bomb. And then I checked it 20 minutes later, and there was an order, and I was super, super pumped.
You called me, right?
I called you, you were busy, but I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to tell someone. And then I checked it again 20 minutes later, and I had 4 orders. And then all of a sudden I got super overwhelmed. I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm like, it's like great, but then anyways, today, and the day's not even over yet, I think we've got 20 orders. So that's awesome.
I think you told the story so much better with me. It was like, I got the first order and I was so excited. Yeah. And then I got the next one and was like, oh crap.
Oh crap. Oh crap.
A few other announcements. My book made it to like the #1 new release for business productivity or time management or something like that. Yeah. Which is so crazy, like, cool. For numerous reasons. One is I kind of like try to stay away from business for the last 5 years and focus on family. And then once I write a family book, it does #1 in business. And
what's that motto? Like, you can't take the business out of
the business guy or something.
Oh, whatever.
It is available for sale now, both from our website and from Amazon. And now we get money. Like, I guess there was like 1,500 copies or more downloaded for free, maybe 2,000 copies downloaded for free in the first 4 or 5 days. And then it just switched to paid. So now we see if it's worth paying $10 for. So the way you can help us is if you read it, would you please leave an honest review on the Amazon store? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Also, I talked to my writer about the Appalachian Trail book, and I was like, is it just me, or is this book really good? Because I've read the thing 10 times now, and I get to the end, and I start crying every chapter. And I've like read it, like I know what's gonna happen, but I still get sucked in. And I'm like, she's like, it's really good. And I don't think she's just telling me that, but it was like so exciting. So now I turn in the manuscript again. I wait another 2 weeks for another round of editing. So now I have other things to do. Those are all our announcements. That brings me to today's topic. This came up because I was on one of my monthly phone calls that I do with patrons that support us at like a higher amount. I do a monthly coaching phone call with them.
Only $100 a month.
I wasn't gonna tell him. I was gonna like.
Well, you need to push it. I think Ben's really good at this stuff.
Okay, no, keep on going.
I do. I think you're really good at it. Every time you get off the phone with these people, you're super pumped, and you say the same thing. You say, "I really like this."
Yeah, I do.
And so today I was like, "Why aren't you telling people about this so that more than just 2 people are doing it?"
I don't want to like push it, but
okay.
You're right. I should talk about it more. I was with this on the phone with this Australian banker named Steve, which this is our 3rd phone call, I believe. And he was like showing me these like pictures of his schedule on his whiteboard, and his wife printed up this like work block thing that each kid is supposed to like fill out each day for themselves. It was like, I was like, whoa, this is cool. One of the things that came up in our conversation is something that I think I've taken for granted that has been really important to us during this process of setting all these goals as a family and inviting kids to be a part of it, giving them the choice. And it has to do with what I would consider negotiating with kids and setting proper boundaries as adults and individuals ourselves. Because you guys know how this process went, and I haven't written about this and we haven't talked about this yet because I think it just gets like a little too far into the weeds, but I think for those of you that have been around here for a while, you'll appreciate this topic. One, because we talk about it often in other ways, but it really, really helped us here. So the way that this goal process went, when I first pitched it to our kids, was I shared this vision for how a lot of us are wasting more time than usual, and we have a unique opportunity because we don't really have school, we don't really have work,
No one can come see us, and we can't see anyone else.
So they're like, excuses are at an all-time low. And even if you are busy right now, I think that these topics will still apply. But we gave our kids this like pitch where we said, I think it would be better if as a group we structured our time so that we all are striving to achieve these very difficult personal goals kind of in these coordinated time blocks. So everyone's doing 9 a.m.
And there's like energy when everyone in the house is doing the same thing.
And it was a completely optional choice, but there is a caveat, and it's actually a fairly important caveat that, like I said, we haven't mentioned yet. And that caveat is the two choices are not join our family in this schedule and work from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and whatever the time slots are, or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And what I've found is it's very easy to be very black and white, to feel like we need to like control and push something on our kids and force them, or be like, rules are bad, they're stupid, boundaries are unimportant, and I can just let my kid do whatever. So what we did is kind of a third option, which is to say, you can join our family for this time slot, but if you don't, it doesn't mean, like if we're cooking breakfast at 8 to 8:30, and then we're all working from 9 to 10, you can't come down to our kitchen and start cooking bacon at 9:30. Which in the past we've allowed that kind of thing, but for especially this time period, that would have cost the entire family. Like when everyone's like trying to do work, like tough work, and we've like woken up early and are working out, and then we like look over,
Bacon?
and someone's in the middle of cooking like waffles and and a brunch.
Bacon waffles.
It becomes detrimental to everyone. And that's not because we're just trying to control the kid, but we also have to look out for our interests as parents and the interests of the family. So I would consider that, and this is an important distinction for me, that's more of a boundary of saying we don't want you to cross this line. And this line is, we're building this fence kind of to protect our time and our goals. But that's really different, I think, than coming after a kid and being like, you did bad manners, like you're not gonna watch TV tonight. Which doesn't really, it's almost like trying to teach them a lesson. It's not actually protecting myself. It's more just like trying to get them to change their mind or doing things. It's like a threat.
Yeah.
Like if we would have said something like this, these nuances are very slight, but had we said, okay, you need to do this goal time or we're gonna take away your privileges. To me, that's like manipulation and a threat, which I'm not even saying all manipulation is bad. I think there's times where we should be using our power as parents to help kids do what is in their best interest long term. But I also think there's a difference, and this is another kind of power that we use, and I feel like a lot of parents, they feel bad for using it, like they don't use it. Like I was talking to Steve today about showers, and I didn't know this, Australia is the driest continent, or one of the driest continents in the world, so I guess they have this like big deal of like using too much water. And I was just sharing how for us, like having 8 people in the house, there was one time when we said, okay, you can take a shower for 10 minutes, but if you want to do more than 10 minutes, it's 10 cents a minute and you can pay for it. Now we weren't doing that to get kids to take shorter showers. I just wanted them to have to like, it was kind of saying a boundary, I'll pay for 10 minutes, but I'm not gonna pay for your 2-hour-long shower. Yeah. That's my line. But if you want to, you can. Like I'm not trying to get you to like just change for me. You've been very quiet.
My eyes are bugging me, but I don't know what to say. Do you want me to say something?
I would love it if you'd say something. We were talking on the run and you had all sorts of stuff to say there.
It's difficult for me sometimes. It feels like I'm taking away the kids' choices or I'm not giving them enough autonomy. I do think it's a balancing act sometimes. Sometimes it's really good to give your kids choices and autonomy, and when I can do that, I'd prefer to do that. But it's also in a family, in order for the family to kind of thrive, I think, and for the family as a whole to thrive, or a group as a whole to thrive, there has to be some sacrifice of autonomy from the members of the family.
If you don't create boundaries, if you let kids do whatever they want, I think it limits the relationship long term. Because this was the type of mindset I think that leads to parents kicking their kids out of their house sooner because they can't stand to be around them, or it's too much of a cost, either financially or emotionally. When you're not making your needs, communicating those needs clearly as a parent or for the family, and you just are kind of like trying to absorb it, and you think that's more loving and that's the best for the family, it has a fuse attached to it. And I don't think it can't last forever. Like, it becomes, you're bearing this weight, which feels noble, but sometimes it's more noble to just clearly, without energy or manipulation, just communicate what your boundary. I mean, we do this in our relationship all the time, where I'll say, hey, I can't handle that type of conversation right now. I really want to have this conversation with you, but I can't handle it right now. That's a boundary that I'm placing. And if I don't do it, let's say I try and have the conversation with you, I end up like resenting you, or I end up more worn out later on, and I want to talk to you less in the future.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is more loving. And I'm just talking about doing this. It's a little bit more complex.
Sometimes it can just be sharing your feelings with your kid. Like, if you keep on leaving your stuff out, this just makes my life harder, and it makes me not want to give you stuff. Or, I mean, I don't even think that needs to be manipulative. I think you're just being honest, and you're kind of bringing the kid into your world for a moment and letting them see. I mean, I even think my 4-year-old can do this. You know, if I say, hey, when you don't come, when I ask you to come right away, it makes me frustrated. Like, I don't want to help you then. He actually understands that. He may be like, so what? But oftentimes he doesn't want to do that. So I think there's a step before even the boundary, and maybe this is a boundary as well, of just sharing how these actions make you feel, what your reality is.
Boundaries aren't a way to control other people. It's a way to protect and define your personhood, preferences, and safety.
And it's a way it's a way also to help that relationship thrive. If you're not sharing these things with the person you're in a relationship with, it's like a ticking time bomb that eventually you're going to resent this person and you're not going to want to be around them.
Yeah. The times I haven't had boundaries, and when I don't respect myself, I can't really expect other people to respect me. And I think a lot of people, they feel disrespected by other people. They're like, no one respects me. Well, that almost always starts, I think, when you don't respect yourself. When you don't have proper boundaries for yourself, no one else is going to respect your boundaries.
Some of you might be confused if you've been following us for the last year or whatever, because last year we didn't do any rules for a year. But for us, that was like a very personal thing that we did, because we were coming out of a very authoritarian belief mindset. So like, we knew we needed this reset button. We needed to be able to see,
like for Cammie and I, we needed this.
Yes, we needed to see parenting in a new light. So for a lot of people, I mean, each of you are gonna find yourself in a different place. I think oftentimes if you've been raised authoritarianly, you'll usually do one of two things. Either you'll just pass that on and keep doing that, or you'll just completely throw it out altogether, which I actually understand. But I think there's another way that we're learning. We've learned in the last couple years, especially through counseling and just resetting a lot of our mindsets, a lot of
Can I speak to that real quick?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest minds, especially because of our religious background, we viewed our own value and our own, like, love was all about sacrificing for others. So it was like completely giving up anything that you care about for your kids or for your neighbors or friends. Yeah. That was like the kind of the Christianity we were raised with.
And we were raised in a hierarchical system where there's God, there's even husband and wife, but there's
I like that.
God, there's parents, and then there's children. Which I get that there is a difference between parents and children, but we were taught, like, you use that to say I have power and authority over you because of this.
So even like a Bible verse, which was like the second commandment, which is like love your neighbor as yourself, was almost used as a weapon for us. It was like, oh, love your neighbor, ignore yourself. That's how we interpret that.
Yeah.
Whereas our therapy, we learned that is actually a case for made for how much you should actually value yourself. However much you love your neighbor, you should love yourself at least that much, and vice versa. Like, you're not putting one over the other, but every person actually has to put their own needs first in a way. Like, that's why you put the oxygen mask on yourself before you help someone else on an airplane. Those were a lot of the beliefs that I think she was talking about.
So yeah, so we had that year. I think it helped us tremendously, Ben and I. But now we're back with, we have rules, we have boundaries, but I think we actually have a different mindset than we did, oh, I know what we do actually, than we did 5 years ago.
Well, we have a lot less rules, but even in that year, we still had boundaries. You know,
That's
I think
true.
a lot of people got confused and they're
Between
like, oh,
rules and
because you have no
boundaries.
rules, can I just punch you in the face? You're like, well, you can punch me in the face, but I'm gonna punch you back. Like, just because if you get to do whatever you want, I get to do whatever I want too. Like, so
Yeah.
there becomes this, order comes from this other place. And outside of rules, I guess that's what I want to communicate.
Yeah.
The healthier boundaries we've got, the more we've noticed, it creates these incentivizations and motivations and limitations that are actually helpful for our family.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think if there's other family members we have, I think you know who I'm talking about, where there's like this grown boy / man who like should be responsible, but the grandparents are like driving him around everywhere and like doing everything for him, like doing his laundry and doing all these things. And I think one of the reasons for that is their choice to him is, would they're saying like, go get a job and like be responsible and stop playing video games and stop doing drugs. But the choices they're giving him, they're like, would you like to, you know, get a job and be responsible, or would you like me to drive you around everywhere? And of course, given those two choices, they're not like saying that, but their actions are.
Yeah.
Of course, given those two choices, the person is choosing this. They're like, oh sweet, I can have
Like,
my
if
cake
you're
and eat
not
it too.
choosing these grown-up things for your life, don't worry, I'll bail you out. Like,
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
they were giving this person a choice and saying, either you get a job or we're gonna stop paying for your rent, or we're not gonna drive you around because you can't afford an Uber, a bike, or a car, then you're gonna be walking in the snow. I think this person would make healthier choices for themselves. And even in this week, we didn't give our kids, we didn't say like, you can do, you know, our work block or whatever you want. And it was like fairly limited, I think. We said like, well, you know, you're not gonna be able to cook whenever you want. Like, these are the cooking times in our kitchen. You can't be a distraction to those of us that are trying to work. So, you know, staying up late, you're gonna have to be quiet, and sleeping in and walking down and playing video games is not gonna work. And I think the kids might have chosen it anyways, but I think that definitely helped.
Yeah.
And I think it helps the
Because
relationship.
there's a momentum, there's a structure in place that if you fall out of that structure, it actually, people are gonna notice you, and they're gonna notice, and you're gonna feel like almost left out. You know, oh, I'm not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. All right, anything else? I liked it a lot better when you joined me for the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I just had to find a place, I had to find a thought flow where I could jump in there.
Hey.
It's like I have an on-off switch. I'm like, I'll listen to you, listen, and you're like, oh, okay, I should say something.
Hey, I'm glad you found it. And I'm sure people are gonna be like, yay, Cammie.
Yay, Cammie. Yay, Cammie for the merch.
Speaking of, I'm glad you mentioned that, Cammie.
Yeah.
We have links below where you can buy all sorts of bomb-ass merch. You can buy the book that talks about this week and how we have been navigating this week and everything that it did for us. We're on the middle of week 3.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
And it's still been killing it, I think.
For me personally, the first week was hard. And then I remember having a conversation with Ben saying, I don't know if I can do this, but I feel like I'll give it another week. Week 2 was dramatically different for me. It felt so much easier. Maybe it's just, I just needed a week to like get into it. So just as an encouragement, if your first week, your first 2 weeks are hard, maybe hang in there for a little while longer and see if it gets easier.
And I do have 3 more spots if you want to sign up for a monthly personal coaching session. You can do it on Patreon. Cami says it's really awesome.
It is. I think Ben's good at it. I feel like you have what it takes.
I'm better than ever. I listen to people.
Oh, yeah.
And I push them.
Yeah, those are two, and you challenge people. Those are, yeah, listen and challenge. Those are 2 really good qualities.
I used to have this need to like push everyone in this certain direction. I think whatever direction was what I thought I needed to do.
Right.
But now I think I have more of an ability to listen to people about what they want to do and help push them in that direction. Yeah. So that's what I do. And then the book is available for download right now. I'm still working on getting a print copy. Of course, if you check the link, it might be in print by now, because that's my goal for this week.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, did I not tell you this?
You found a printing company open?
No, I haven't. But I told people that by Saturday, I need to have it printed. And then, of course, I would greatly appreciate it if you consider leaving a review. It literally takes 1 minute, 30 seconds. The link is below. You can just click on that and it
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Let us know what you thought of today's content with boundaries, and if you have any questions about this, because I think this is this topic spans our whole life.
Yeah, for sure.
Every area of it. See you guys next time.